This weaving video is going to be all about how to create those really cool diagonal slits and dovetails in your weaving designs so it looks like a zigzag going back and forth. First thing you want to do is get 2 equal strings. Pull one of them and begin working with just one at a time. When you get your loom, you're going to take that first string and you're going to take it all the way across one side of your loom. We are weaving a pouch that requires you working front and back, but in this particular technique, you're going to just start with one side and then turn around and go back the other direction, kind of like a horseshoe. This is known also as a dovetail when you turn around and go the different direction. I prefer to use a needle. I started off with my fingers there, but the needle does help get you under and over those strings. As you pull this string through, please check below and make sure it's doing the opposite as the strings below. So if you started with under, just make sure that the string below went over. Now I'm going to turn around, go back the full distance on this side, pull that string all the way through, and do the same thing on the other side. Check it out. Now I finished with that front and back. You're going to see that this next row goes a little bit shorter. I'm going to fall short maybe 2 strings from the end and then work my way back the other direction. I will do this over and over, kind of like stairs going up, and you'll see that it creates this really beautiful diagonal as I start stacking these rows. Now that I've created that first diagonal with my green string front and back, I'm now pulling in the other string that I cut at the very beginning. But I'm going to have to do the opposite. Instead of doing a very long line to start with, I'm actually going to start with my shortest. And you can see in my weaving, I'm only going around 1 string to get started with on the front and going in between the 2 green ones to make that dovetail. Remember, dovetail means kind of like U-turn, turning around and going the opposite direction with your weaving. Once I complete that, make sure you do pull that string tight just like that, and then you pack them back down on top of each other, and now I'm going to flip and go to the other side. That's just setting myself up for when I come back. And I'm just going to go in 2 vertical strings there if you look, and then I will have to dovetail it back. Again, dovetail means turn around. Now I'm going to go in between the next 2, and you'll see that each time it gets a little bit longer as I go front to back, front to back. Notice that I'm doing 2 different styles on each side of my loom. On this side, I'm doing the diagonal dovetail, where 2 strings are interlocking. They're kind of taking turns, meaning the green and the blue have a string in common. You can see it in this photograph here on the black and white copy. On the other side, I'm doing a diagonal slit, and that is where the strings are sitting side by side, so they have a little bit of a break in between. On a diagonal, they still seem to hug each other really nicely. However, when you're doing it vertically and not diagonally, you can always see that hole that actually ends up forming in a slit. You can see it actually between the red and the yellow right there. So now that I've gotten towards the end of the second string, you can see that it's gotten a lot longer as I built up, and it's taken up the space that was left behind that the green didn't cover. So that is how you create a diagonal dovetail that is interlocking there. And the other side will show you how to do a diagonal slit. Have fun!